To Core Story. I'm Shimshin Mayor Frankel. Core Story is where we encounter professionals in an authentic way. We really get into their kishkas to find out why they do the work that they do and what core tools they're using to help others live more healthy and inspiring lives. We're really fortunate to be connecting with Rocky Krogfoss. He's hailing from British Columbia. How you doing, Rocky?
I'm doing great. It's so nice to be here with you today. We've connected over the last few months and we've become friends and we've identified that we have a lot more in common than we have in differences. So I'm really pleased to be here.
It's always a pleasure connecting with you.
Thank you.
So tell me something, Rocky. You've indicated that you're a stress reduction counselor, a life coach, and a quantum energy healer. I'm just curious, what is that? What's a quantum energy healer?
Yeah, the other two titles are something that people can relate to, but as soon as you use the word quantum, people's eyes roll in the back of their head and they go, what does that mean? Simply said, quantum is a state of being, of connectiveness to a source of energy that science refers to as the ether field. It's a connection to an energy field that connects us all, and this is all scientifically proven, to facilitate healing. So quantum energy healing is really the energy source of all creation on this planet that we tap into. And once your intention is to tap into that, you do tap into it, and you are able to access, I'll use the term information, that helps people identify who they really are, not who they think they are.
Okay. Now, is this type of healing? Is this something you've been into for a long time? Is it a new idea? Something you've been?
The quantum energy healing is really a relatively new name because all energy healing before that was called either Reiki or therapeutic touch. Or this takes healing to an entirely different level because in this type of healing, we're not really changing the energy. We're changing the information and the core beliefs. That changes the frequency of the energy. So quantum energy healing is more a state of helping people connect to and release de-empowering beliefs, unworthiness beliefs, fear, limitation, that they currently are running in what I call a program in their DNA, much like a computer and a hard drive. They have files in their hard drive which are counterproductive to living a peaceful and happy life. So what we do is we help identify that through this healing process. So quantum energy healing, life coach, and stress reduction healing is all kind of muddled into one kind of format, and I call it identifying your story. And from your story, we use all of those skills to combine to go into who you think you are, and so we can allow that feeling and that information to come forward so that we can pull out the parts that don't work anymore and replace them with parts so that you can become who you really are, which is an energy field of love, wanting to be loved, but being programmed to do other things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like what I do. Yeah.
Wonderful. I'd love to hear more about your story.
Yes.
We are talking about the core story here. The core story is really kind of like a transitional story. Good stories go. I used to be like this, and then I experienced something, whether it was a peak experience or aha moment, or you read it in a textbook, or maybe an authority figure taught it to you, or you just had an experience that it really changed your life in a drastic way. Was there a time like that for you? Did that bring you to this type of healing? Can you tell me about that?
Absolutely. Well, I'll give you the Coles Notes version of my childhood because it all reflects from my childhood. When I was 10 years old, I was the oldest of 5 boys in a family, and my mom and dad split up, and this was in 1966. And in those days, things were quite different.
Right?
Very, very different. The kinds of things that happened in families in those days was quietly kept quiet, even though it was very apparent to everyone outside of my home that I was being beaten. So the reality is I grew up all of a sudden at age 10 becoming the mother, or the beaten mother, as it were, of these younger children, and subjected daily to fear and violence. And not only inside the house, but because we were so dysfunctional, as soon as I stepped out the door, that dysfunction reared its ugly head, and I was bullied all the time. Now, it doesn't look like it now because I'm a big man, but that's part of the story. As time went on and I became a young man, I was highly involved in sports, and it was my savior. I became a very good athlete at just about everything that I did. But in my late teens and early 20s, and right up through into my mid 30s, I became very angry, and I became violent myself. I wasn't violent in the outside world. I was violent on the playing fields. Hockey, soccer, even baseball, I was violent. Yeah, so I was angry and violent, and I had very few core beliefs that said I was worthy of anything. And my outside world started to reflect that. I wasn't really aware of it at the time, and that's why when I hit 38, I say that my spirit guides, my guardian angels, whatever you want to call them, pulled the pin on me, because I was headed for, obviously, a cliff that I was not going to recover from. So because, like you and I have talked about in the past, we're here for a purpose. My purpose was about to unfold, and I went into a state of deep depression, paranoia even, a horrible feeling, and so that brought me into that state where all of a sudden now I did what everyone else does. I went and saw a doctor for help.
A medical doctor?
A medical doctor for help. And about a year into that, it was very clear to me that I was completely wasting my time, that nothing better was coming out. They gave me pills and all that kind of stuff. And I still felt horrible. Even with the pills, I still felt horrible. And I remember saying to you one day that I literally stood over a black vortex. I actually saw it, a black vortex, just in front of me. And I felt the winds of hell go through my body, and it was calling me. And I know that many people listening to this will be able to relate to this, that hell, the wanting to leave this planet is very real. So I have experienced the darkest depths of that. And in traditional warrior sense, which I was a warrior all my life, I just looked at it and I gave it the middle finger and I walked away from it. And I sat down on my bed one day and I said, oh my God, I need help. Now, at this point in my life, I was taught by my father, there's no God, there's no angels, there's no religion. Anybody who's religious is an idiot. And anybody who's, just really negative stuff. So by accident, I said these words. And that's when this woman came into my life, who is one of my dearest friends and probably one of the most talented healers I've ever experienced in my life. It was her channeling and her healing process that started to unravel the multiple layers of disbelief I had in myself. It took 5 years just for me to get to some kind of balance where I started to become interested in this process because it was so effective. And in this process,
so in a sense, you were doing a practicum with this woman, right? You were studying her art, her technique in
totally.
Healing.
And I became more and more interested in it because the process was so gentle and soft. I never really saw a process because I came from a warrior background and I was just about fixing things. But more and more, I began to understand that the gentle, loving process that she used and the energy healing plus the channeled information was phenomenal. I was able to connect with my spirit guides and her spirit guides and literally have a one-on-one conversation with them, which most people find pretty weird. But I lived it. I came from a world of not believing any of this, and I lived it. I know it's real. So the information that was coming to me was all about my childhood, and it was all about different experiences I had and all different feelings I had, and they were able to reflect in my life now what I had learned about my worthiness and unworthiness. So they were showing me the law of attraction, they were showing me energy, they were showing me core beliefs, all in this package. And then it just really hit me one day, and I started to study these processes, and I also began to study quantum physics and other sciences that have recently come on board, like epigenetics and emotional energy science. Throughout this entire process, I began to do healing work with people, and I discovered I had a unique gift. And the unique gift was that people would come to me and their pain would go away almost instantly, within 5-10 minutes, like migraine headaches.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really understand what I was doing. I just put my hands on them and boom, their pain was gone.
Right.
So how's that even possible?
Yeah.
So throughout this whole process, throughout my life, I've been studying, and I've become more and more in depth with my fascination with this to the point where I can now explain it scientifically and through what I call energy law, which is another word for law of attraction, and I've merged the two so that I'm able to help people at any level with any issue. So that's kind of like my life story in a nutshell.
And this special woman who helped you, how different is that than what people speak about today about like inner child work in terms of going back and reframing things and asking forgiveness or giving forgiveness to those people in our lives in the past? Was it any different than that? Or?
Not really. It's just that there's no process to it. What was needed in the now was what was brought up. So, if this layer was the top layer that needed my attention, that's what got dealt with. And so it was a free-flowing thing. It was never a, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it. There was no process involved. It was free-flowing. And that's what I've come to understand about energy healing. If you try to figure out an outcome before you start, you're not going to succeed. There is no outcome. When you're detached from an outcome, that's when you have the greatest success. So in her case, she was so advanced in her knowledge and her love, her willingness to love me, despite all my what I call my gruntuitous warrior attitudes and stubbornness and manliness, that she stuck with it. It took 10 years for me to be where I am today. And overall, it's been a 20-year journey.
Did it feel like you were peeling off layers, like the layers of the onion?
Indeed. And the one thing that really convinced me that this thing was magical, when you have the kind of anger for your father that I did, that anger shows itself many ways. And it always showed itself with this. When I talk about my father, my fist, father beat, my fist like this. And I remember the day I did a very powerful healing with her, where I cried so hard that I broke a blood vessel in my eye. And it was like a 20-minute cry, and I was literally out of breath. I could not breathe after this. I had to take 5 minutes to get my breath back. And as I was driving away, and she gave me a recording on a CD, so I was listening to it in my car as I was driving away. And I remember driving across the bridge in Vancouver to go head home, and we're talking about my father, and all of a sudden I was driving with my hand, and I put my hand up like this, and I realized I didn't do this. And I realized how good that felt. I realized I felt not angry anymore. And that was a miracle to me, because it meant that all this work that we were doing was actually accomplishing something, because in my personal world was changing too. It was reflecting more and more love and less conflict. So I was able to measure it over the course of time, but in my body, my feeling body, I had the evidence that I was truly letting go of immense, powerful, negative feelings. And that was a blessing.
So being free of this conflict, it allowed you to express more love in the world.
To reprogram myself with higher states of loving myself and loving everyone.
Loving yourself and loving, I see. Okay.
So it's important to love yourself first, because if you don't, you're not going to send out any different frequency. So whatever you put into you is what you're sending out, and what you're sending out is what you're going to get back. So whatever's going on in your life, whatever challenges you have in your life, that's an opportunity to say, wow, I attracted that. What in me is attracting that? Rather than judging that situation or getting angry about it and deflecting it, it's an opportunity to recognize that you are creating this. what inside you, what information inside you, what unworthiness information inside you is drawing it to you. It's an opportunity to heal. Pain is an opportunity to heal.
Mm-hmm.
Any kind of pain. Fear is an opportunity to heal.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you look at it from that perspective, when you flip the pancake around, as I call it, and you look at it as an opportunity rather than poor me or wow, why does this keep happening to me, which is what most of the world does. When you flip it around and you see the opportunity and you understand that you can do something about it, that you have the power within you to shift and change things miraculously and change your life and change the entire perception of your reality, change your life so that you're experiencing more love.
Mm-hmm.
Why not go there? That's well, you and I know. Why not go there, right?
Yeah. Well, what I love so much about your story is how much it fits that authentic model that you start with yourself. It's working from the inside out, and that loving yourself first is what draws people to you to receive love from you. And as you said, with that, when you have that personal pain, and you learn how to overcome it, and right, people are seeking that from you, because anyone who has the pain or similar trauma in their life, they're going to want to come to you and work with you because you've been there. You've been there. You've gone through the process. You've taken the steps, however open those steps are, and it's just amazing to me that you know you really represent what it means to do the work first, right? Work on yourself, and then everyone else can benefit from it.
Totally. And the one thing that I love about what I do, and it's just a natural gift, is I've been able to take concepts. We've always known that you need to do the inner work in spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
and but no one's ever come to me and said you need to show up and you need to do the work in the mud. You need to show up in the mud. You need to put your boots on. It's not going to be a horrible experience. You just need to show up in the mud. No one ever actually says that out there.
Right.
And so I've been saying that. I've been saying, you know what? I've been in the mud, and I'm telling you that this is where you do the healing work. It's not onerous. It's not horrible. You don't have to relive anything. But if you show up with authenticity, as you said, miracles occur in transition from feelings of unworthiness to love. And that's the simplicity of it. So I like to make things as simple as possible. I like to be clear with people that there is hope. There is hope because there's choice now. You don't have to walk down the medical model of coping, surviving, and medication. You don't have to do that anymore. So I'm making that message very clear to the world that you do have a choice. And through working with people like you, I get this message out, and I'm so grateful for that.
Okay, well, I'm really curious to know a little bit more. How do you do it? How do you work with people? If I were to work with you, say right now, what could you do for me? I mean, as a quantum energy healer, I know you do distance healing, and I know I'm asking you to do this because usually you ask people how they do things, and then they explain it. But there's nothing greater than just actually doing it. Then would you be willing to do some type of healing with me?
Well, as we discussed earlier, you were unfortunate enough to have a virus for the last 3 weeks, which really knocked you out.
Yeah.
So we can look at how that made you feel and what sort of things came up for you in that. And through the energy healing process, as you know, we're connected. So I will connect with you through this screen, and we'll go into some stuff that you became aware of that you understand now are pivotal in changes in your life to help you move forward with success. So what I'll ask you to do is, it's very simple. I'll just ask you to close your eyes and just breathe for a minute. Take a deep breath, as deep as you can possibly take, right to the bottom of your belly.
Mm-hmm.
And as you do that, you're probably noticing that your throat's a little bit tickly. And so we want to start right there in your throat and just describe to me what it is you're experiencing in your throat. And I'm just going to pay attention to the frequency of your language and the words that you use.
Okay. And let's
Yeah.
make sure, Rocky, that while you're intending to help me in this way, to please all of our viewers, to also have them in mind, so they can
Yes.
also benefit from this exercise.
So I will invite everyone watching this video to, whatever it is that's going on in your life right now, please join us in this very simple little exercise. You will notice after we're done that you'll feel lighter and you'll feel better, and you'll realize the power you have within you to shift and change negative things to positive things very quickly. So as we go forward, reconnecting again. When you tune into that virus in your body, you've had many opportunities now to experience why you were shut down for 3 weeks. So I would like you to share with the people here listening to this, and of course, you've done some of the work ahead of time, so that's a little bit easier, but what is it that you're experiencing? And use your own language to describe what you're experiencing.
Okay. In the world of the virus, there was a lot of suffering, a lot of pain. And even for 3 days I was in bed. My body, as you say, totally shut down. But there was some unbelievable gift in it. And strangely, I kept an MP3 player next to my bed because I realized that I was having these racing thoughts. And they were so important to me. They really opened me up, and I saw things so much more clearly. And I didn't want to lose them. I also realized that because I didn't want to lose them, I didn't want to let go of them. So I was having cyclical thoughts because I couldn't let them go. So I realized, and that in itself was a gift, that I had the thought to actually grab the MP3 player, and every time I had one of these, powerful, seemingly, life-shattering, life-changing thoughts, I would speak it into the MP3 player, and then I could let it go. I trusted that it would be there after I felt better and could retrieve them. And what a wonderful thing that's come from that is I've done a lot of writing based on those ideas and that thinking. But I'd say the biggest shift for me was that realization that I really want to make a change in the field of psychology. I realized that I want to create a revolution, because even the word psychology, what is psychology? It's the study of the psyche. Even if you open up the Merriam-Webster's dictionary today, what is the first definition for psyche? What do you find there? The soul. So what is psychology? It's the study of the soul. So if you're suffering from something, if you're concerned about something, you're bothered by something, should you go to the medical doctor for that type of healing? No, it sounds to me like you need a spiritual doctor. You need a soul doctor. If you look in the dictionary and look up the word psychotherapy, which should be therapy for the psyche or therapy for the soul, it says there that it's a treatment for mental illness and disease. What happened? How did we go from a therapy for the soul, to fixing an illness or a disease? So I want to take the word back. That's that's ultimately what I realize, and that's the path I'm taking right now in my work, in my website, the AuthenticPsychology.com website. Um, I really want to take that back and give people that opportunity to really, as you are helping me with this healing exercise, to be able to center myself, help other authentic practitioners to get back to that central core, and which is really, yeah, that's the place that of the soul, right?
That's absolutely beautiful. And doesn't it feel good to express it? And express it without what?
Um,
Without
without any real um, boundaries or
fear
limitations,
fear of judgment.
fear of judgment. Okay, I like that. Yeah.
So, as a psychologist, you had this, we'll call it this energy field of the wall around you that is the field that you currently, that you studied. So the virus to me represents an opportunity for you to stop your life, focus on what's important to you. So the virus was a gift, and it was 3 weeks long. And so you had plenty of time to reflect on what you know to be true. And you're speaking your truth very clearly and beautifully today, because that's what's happened, is you were in conflict with the very thing that you represent in that field, because inside you was a calling to truth. And that's what I've come to know about you, but that's what your words are saying now. What is the truth? What is the truth about healing the soul? What is the truth about healing the energy fields of the human being? What is the truth about healing, period? What is the truth? And so you've been searching, and through this process of connectiveness, you're able to speak your truth. You're able to identify the beauty of why you were shut down for 3 weeks. Therefore, that is an act of pure love for self. It's an act of pure love. This expression of your truth is an act of love for yourself. It's a gift to the world. And what you're sharing today is a gift to the world, because it shows that from within and from without, change is happening, because you are awakening to your truth, to your purpose. And that is a blessing that only can be honored. How can anyone not hear this and just go, wow, that's really cool? So I'm also picking up that that because of the energies of the Middle East, that you are also subject to the machinations of an energy that is, we hate them, they hate us. And it's not who you are. So you are a beacon of light for peace and love at a very high level. It's not just psychology, it's much more than that. It's a beacon of light for, come on folks, we're all part of the human race. Doesn't matter what religion we have. Let's all come together and celebrate our love of God, our love of humanity together in peace. So the soul healing is really about healing the soul of the planet as well. So what you're doing is you're stepping forward with courage to say, let's stop playing this game, let's show up, let's be authentic, and let's have a dialogue, and let's make this place let's make this planet a better place, starting with individual people coming to you for healing, and then getting the message out further and further and further. So energy healing, what we're doing right here, right now, is we're connecting to that truth heart to heart, and we're celebrating it. So in the energy healing process, what we want to do is we want to connect to our truth and speak our truth, no matter how it feels. It's the feelings that hold us back. When we resist our feelings, we resist the opportunity to heal and express ourselves for our true purpose. And so what I'm saying to you right now is that this is a beautiful message for the whole planet, and thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking me home again.
So right now in this moment, can you tell the people what you're feeling in your body as a result of that, this last 5-minute experience?
A freedom, an expansiveness, which is, I guess, also an inclusiveness. Yeah, I feel very open, and the little bit of residue left in my chest feels very also loose and free.
That's the beautiful thing about a virus. When you love it rather than fight it, when you love it for the lesson it gives you, it no longer is needed in the body and it leaves. So you're healing the virus at the same time. So you're healing your soul, you're healing the virus, you're healing the environment, you're healing your body, you're healing the energy of the mass conscious energy of the planet, and you're putting love into all of those areas, which can only make a huge difference. It's only positive.
Okay.
So as I would normally say to my clients at this point in my traditional Rocky language, I would say, you rock.
All right.
That's not very traditional, but I like to be humorous a little bit too, because I don't want to be so serious all the time that we can't have a few laughs, you know, because laughing is good for the soul too.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that's a simple example of how energy healing works. If you were, you know, coming to me with a state of depression or whatever, we wouldn't be going quite as deep as we did, because you were more or less ready to do this and express it. But I would work with the core beliefs that are causing this depression, and slowly but surely, in a very safe and vulnerable state, remove those files with permission. Because if you're in resistance, I can't do anything. But if you're ready to heal and you're really ready to heal, we can create miracles together.
Wonderful.
So I'm ready to create miracles with you, my friend.
Yeah, and I'm not only do I appreciate you and the healing that you're doing, but I'm sure all of the people viewing this video right now really benefited from what you've shared, and I always enjoy our time together and connecting with you, and you're so incredibly busy right now. You are just really getting yourself out there, and this whole moving from the inside out. You're doing some serious outreach right now, and I'm very impressed. And I'd love people who are viewing to connect with you, see what you're doing. You have plenty of videos out there showing exactly how you do what you do. And I appreciate you sharing again your story with me. I am always so interested in why you're doing what you're doing, and so I know you're coming from a serious place, and you've really done some good work. It's obvious.
Yes.
So
if anybody wants to get a hold of me, the easiest way is good old-fashioned email. Maybe I'm a little bit old-fashioned that way. I don't have Twitter or anything like that, but my email is stressfreeme99@gmail.com, and just contact me through email. I do set up Skype healings across the planet. It doesn't matter where you are on the planet. I know it's hard to understand distance healings, but once you understand that we're all connected energetically, it's the same as if you're sitting in my office right here in Vancouver, British Columbia. So it doesn't matter. You're in Israel, I'm here. Healing energy is healing energy. We're all connected. Why not use that tool to celebrate your freedom?
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, amazing that the technology is there. Right? We can do this now.
Yes.
very exciting.
It's a miracle.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're feeling 100%. I hope the people listening are connecting to their heart right now and just feeling how light they feel, because this energy of this video is going to continue to send energy out to every person that listens to this, so that a healing opportunity exists every time somebody listens to this. The healing opportunity amplifies, and it keeps coming back. So by all means, connect to it. Feel the miracle of what you're able to create for yourself when you genuinely want to heal and move forward in your life and have more love and happiness in your life.
Mm-hmm. And anyone who's watching this video, if you're interested in getting involved in Core Story, to actually tell your story, whether you're a practitioner or you're dedicated authenticity in your life, please be in touch with me at what is it? Where am I connected? Yeah.
Don't remember.
Right, AuthenticPsychology.com. You can reach me there. Okay, all the best to you, Rocky, and to everyone who's been watching, listening in, and what an amazing experience. I appreciate so much.
So much. I say welcome to all our friends listening, and please share with us both, because we're dedicated to your well-being. Thank you for listening.